What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I am going to tell you how to be the most prepared nurse or student nurse that you can be at clinicals. So let's get into it. First things first, get some good sleep. That is going to help you overall function well and feel good when you're on your feet for 8 to 12 hours a day at clinical. Sleep hygiene is super important, and I know that feels impossible in nursing school because you're up all night studying, or you're thinking about things, or you're working on a project, or you're overanalyzing a test that you took that you should have gotten an answer correct, but the answer was incorrect, but you know that it was right and your teacher wouldn't give you the points back. These are the things that I did in nursing school. So I'm sure that you're doing them too. And if you are, stop. Get some good sleep. I, on occasion, would use sleep aids. I wouldn't use anything all the time or every night, and I really tried to save it for nights that I was like, I knew that I wasn't gonna sleep very well. Sleepy Time tea, I love that stuff. It's so good, it knocks me out, and it's really like a natural source, so I'm not concerned about disrupting anything in my body. Another thing that I tried that my friend so kindly gave me was melatonin. She bought me these packets of melatonin and was like, here, try one. So I did. Bitch. Oh my God. I could have peed my pants. I slept so hard. I could have peed on myself in my sleep. Luckily, my bladder was empty. Use what makes you comfortable. Don't go off of what I'm saying. I'm not giving any medical advice here. I'm just telling you what I did. Do your own research. But sleep well. That's what you need to do. Secondly, you gotta eat some good food. You gotta be like mentally satiated by being satiated in your belly to function well. We know that it's important, so eat some good food, especially on the days that you have like tests. Sidebar, one of my nursing instructors told us that their instructor in nursing school used to make them eat like 15 grams of protein or 20 grams of protein or something before they came to take a test because the protein helps your mind function or something of the sort. Eat something good. Be mentally satisfied and satisfied in your belly so that you can function well and so that your brain can function and use this energy to turn the wheels and think about what that thing was that you can't remember, but it was highlighted in pink on the bottom of page 76, and you're like, I know what that said. Does anyone else's brain work that way? Because that's how my brain worked. I would like look in my brain, like backtrack and be like, I know that it was on the bottom page of this note and I scribbled it up here and I highlighted it in pink. What did it say? Getting into some other stuff, I want to talk about all of the things that you can actually do at clinical that's going to make you a more effective clinical student nurse and a nurse one day. First, always ask questions. And I know that everyone says this, but always ask questions. And if the nurse precepting you does not know, then ask another nurse, ask their charge nurse, ask your instructor. Our instructors had to stay there with us or would be there most of the time that we were there. So ask them. Find an answer so that you know what you're doing. Like if you have a question about a medication, ask. Don't go to hand Papa his meds and he's like, what are you giving me? And you're like, I don't know. Really try to prepare yourself mentally in that way to answer those kinds of questions. Go in your mind and be like, when I go into room 421, this lady is gonna ask me what this pill is. And I'm giving her aspirin because she's here after a big cardiac episode or something, an ACS rule out, whatever. Put in a little bit of effort when you talk to your nurse in the morning to, I just remembered something from clinical when I was in clinicals, and it's crazy and hilarious and horrible all at the same time, which is funny. I'll tell you about it. But first, make sure that you're asking the right questions. When you go in the morning and you're sitting with your nurse and she's getting a report, listen. Try and get a good understanding of who the patients you're going to have today are and their needs and the different kinds of medications that they're on. And just try and start like mapping these things out in your brain because it's only going to help you. And when you do that, you're going to be able to prepare questions, things that you don't know or don't understand about the patient that you're taking care of. So always ask questions and make sure that you're thinking about questions you can ask, because you don't know until you know. Side note, really quick, because I really like to get into the down and dirty in my videos, but sidebar for a second. When I was in clinical, I remember I had an amazing nurse. I wish that I could like go see her now after I've been a practicing nurse and be like, you helped me so much. We went to this specific floor all the time and I was always paired with her, and she like loved me, and I would braid her hair, and it was amazing. And I loved her because she taught me so much. Oh, she was so precious. And listen, she was getting a report from a nurse who had just graduated, and I say that like she was maybe a nurse for 6 months or a year. Still a new nurse. My nurse had said something to her and she responded and had a question about something. I had the answer to that question because I had been working with this nurse. I can't remember what the question was, but it was something pertaining to a patient that had been there, that we had seen. It was something very, very simple, nothing that would require like an ounce of medical intelligence to know, but something that just like, if you knew this, you knew this. Does that make sense? Like a random person on the street could know. I can't remember what the question was though. So she asked the nurse the question, and my nurse was like, oh, I don't know, hold on. And I was like, oh, blah, blah. Let me tell you what. She looked at me like this, looked back at my nurse and said, so did Mr. Jones so-and-so blah, blah, blah? My nurse looked at me and I looked at her and we made eye contact and we're like, did she just ignore everything that I just said to her? Because that would be the answer. And it was so, in that moment, I was like, oh, that was so rude. And now I look back and it's just so funny because like, I don't care, like it wouldn't hurt me now. I would be like, hello. But when I was a student, I didn't have the confidence as just a human to say like, ma'am, that was rude. I just answered that question for you. Sorry, I had to pause for a second because that card was full. But she just totally negated my existence and I was like, ouch, sick burn, you're a hater. It was so stupid, and things like that are gonna happen and you just have to let them roll off your back. Like I really didn't let it bother me after that. And when my nurse kind of like encouraged me, like she is being rude to you for no reason, I don't know why she's doing that, but like ignore her, like that's purposeless. She was on nights anyway, so I would never see her and whatever. I was like, you be a hater if you want, whatever. That's just to remind you that we all do go through stuff in nursing school and nursing clinicals, and not everything is gonna be like daisies and sunshine, even though I would prefer it that way. Anyway, let's get on to the next tip. As a nursing student, it is your job to be helpful to everybody on the unit. Let me tell you why. You are going to be a nurse one day, but you're not yet. There's a lot of things that you think you know how to do that you might not actually know how to do, or there might be a better way to do them. You need to do things for and with everyone. I'm not saying be anyone's like little errand girl or boy and like run around and do like all this shitty stuff all day and not like learn anything. Be the person that helps with everything. Be the one that is involved in everything, and it will benefit you exponentially to be a part of that kind of stuff. Let me tell you something else that I think is very important, and it's gonna sound a little ridiculous, but hear me out. Do not be the nursing student that says, I know to everything, okay? Listen, I precept nursing students in the ER now, all the time. I've had my own orientees. I'm like a big girl now. If I have a student that tells me I know when I'm explaining something to them, I don't want to explain things to you. You need to be able to go to clinical and absorb all of the information that you're getting. And if you are listening to respond instead of listening to understand, you are going to have a hard time being successful. There is nothing that drives me more crazy than when I have a nursing student that tells me, I know. And I understand that some of this can come from insecurities and feeling like you're so far away from where you want to be. I understand that because I was also there and it wasn't that long ago. So I understand that you can be met with so many insecurities when you're in places like this and you want to learn and you want to be the person who knows the things and you want to be able to be helpful. But to get there, you have to be here first and you have to not know things first. And it's okay. The beauty of being a nursing student is nobody is expecting you to know everything. So be a sponge to the information that you're getting. Listen and hear what people have to say. Remember that it's okay okay to be new. It's okay to not know things, and it's okay to be where you are. There's one more thing that I think is really important, and that is being on time. When I was in school, if you were late to clinical, you didn't get to go. There was no pass go, you didn't get to participate, and you had to reschedule that day, only if you had a real excuse as to why you were late. Being late just because you're running late, we would get in so much trouble. It was horrible, and I don't think that those should be the standards for everything. Don't get me wrong, my nursing school was something else. But don't be late. Especially in this time where you're learning and building habits that you're going to use when you cross over into like being a real nurse with a license that shows up to work 3 days a week. Do not be the nurse that's late. There is nothing that I find more disrespectful than a nurse that's late. And don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about the nurse that's late by 10 or 15 minutes because of something that happened, or because her kids are sick, or his, dog got out of the fence, or whatever. Like, I understand that life happens and you can't prepare for everything. But if you are chronically late, the time that we work does not change. You work 7A to 7P or 7P to 7A. And you know that a month in advance when they create the next month and a half of a schedule. There's nothing in this world that you can't get back like time. It is so, so precious. Time is a beautiful thing. And if you're taking mine from me because you're just chronically late or chronically irresponsible, nothing makes me more angry. Nothing is more infuriating to me. I understand that everything is not perfect all the time, but if you're chronically late and just don't care, that's where I have an issue. So yeah. Anyway, that is all the advice I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Leave a comment down below letting me know what you want to see next. You want more scrub reviews? You want certain brands? You want me to talk about some crazy stuff? I don't know. What is it that you want to see? And while you're down there, go ahead and like and subscribe, and I will see you beautiful people in my next video.